I want you to put your memory hat on.
Okay.
So you're probably of an age where maybe you remember the 99ers, but maybe not so vividly.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, all right. So what then was your first kind of most important World Cup moment, memory?
As a kid growing up.
I would say most important is actually like more recent, like the 2015, and when Carly scored the hat trick. Like I think that was when my jaw dropped, and I was like, "Wow, this team is incredible." So that was probably like the most significant moment when she scored the 3. I was like, "Oh my gosh."
You remember where you were and where you were watching it?
I mean, I was at home, like in my living room with my family. Yeah, so it was very much. Yeah, I don't think I had gone. I was still in high school. So yeah, it was very much a home moment.
We've come a long way since then. You made your first World Cup team. What does it feel like?
I mean, it's so exciting and amazing. I'm really proud to be representing this team. I know it's an honor and it's so hard to be here. So I'm really excited and I'm hoping to just kind of embrace my first World Cup.
So I think you were 17 or 18 when you kind of broke through with the under-20s. So you've been on kind of this path for a while. Do you remember when you first kind of identified, okay, the senior national team, that's where I want to be?
Yeah, I think it was a U20 camp earlier on, and there was it was actually here at Carson, and a few of the girls got to train with the full team. We were training side by side, and I actually wasn't one of the girls that got to train with them, but seeing them and actually watching them train for the first time, and seeing, I think it was like Mal that was training with them and things like that, I was like, I wanna be there. So yeah.
If you go back to kind of the beginnings of your soccer career, what was it about the sport that first drew you in?
Yeah. I think for me, I also did gymnastics growing up, like side by side, and so I think what stood out to me with soccer was I loved the team aspect of it, and I felt like even today, like those girls that I met in club when I was like 5 or 6 years old, I still keep in touch with. So I think it was the team aspect and just how well I clicked with the girls on every team I've been in. So yeah.
Obviously, at some point, other people start telling you you're good. You get those youth national team call-ups. Do you remember the point at which early on soccer kind of clicked for you and you thought, all right, I'm not just good at this, I'm potentially really good at this?
That's a good question. I think for me, I was one of those players. I was a forward and I went into an outside back, and so I think with that change, I saw it as an opportunity to like get onto the national team with that, and that was probably more so like high school leading into college with the U20s and being with players like Mal, like Tierna, that were already kind of like on their way to the full team. So yeah.
What is it about the outside backs on this team? I feel like you are all converted wingers. What's the story there?
I mean, I think for the most part, growing up, like outside back wasn't a position that people really. I think everyone wanted to be forwards or midfielders. No one really wants to defend type thing. But I think now being an outside back, it's changed so much, and you're not just a defender, you're also an attacker. And so that's why I actually love it so much now, looking back. But yeah, I think especially with the national team, like to be an outside back on this team, you have to not just be good defensively, but have that attacking presence. And so I think that's why there's so many girls like Soph, Crystal, Kelly, that were forwards and now are outside backs. So.
You know, we hear so much about how competitive this team is, not just this version of this team, but historically. What's it like as a new player trying to break into that?
Yeah. I mean, I think, like you said, I've kind of been in and out since like 2018. So it has been, you know, from like the 2018 moments to now, I feel like I am a lot more comfortable in this environment. I still am uncomfortable, which is always what you want in terms of like getting better and trying to push yourself. But yeah, I think, you know, the leaders, the veterans on this team have done a great job of making everyone feel welcome. It is, a lot of people's first World Cups, including mine. So I think a lot of it is like the leadership that has really helped.
Did you have a welcome to either the national team moment or welcome to international soccer moment where you said, okay, this is a step up?
Yeah, I mean, really I think my first camp was in Portugal, and honestly the first training, I was like, this is a step up from college, from, the U20s, from things like that. Right away it was so intense and so hardcore, and I knew that it was a level up like right away.
Yeah. What's it like adjusting to that?
I mean, I think there's a lot of emotions. Obviously I was, in college going with the national team, and like, all these players are so like iconic and you look up to them. So I think there's a lot of emotions. But I think now looking back, prioritizing like your mental health and having cues to help you like relax and not be so overwhelmed is really important. And then, just having confidence that you deserve to be there.
So you mentioned you were kind of in and out with the national team. You get that first call-up in 2018. Something happened last year in 2022 where you don't just prove that you can play, you prove that you can start. What happened in your game?
I mean, like you said, I think with this national team, it's so competitive and it's so hard to like stay in this environment. And like I said, having the confidence and belief in yourself that you are earning your spot and getting a chance to play for the team. I think that's kind of what changed for me. I think also playing pro that year and the last year was my rookie year. So I think getting into that environment was really good and really helped me. Obviously play against all the national team players and other girls. So yeah, I think those two things really helped.
If we look back at last year specifically, it was successful for you in national team perspective. But there was a stretch kind of in the fall where the team lost some games, 3 in a row, something we just haven't seen from this team in a while. Mm-hmm. What was that experience like?
Yeah. I mean, I think for me personally, I was kind of having some injuries and stuff like that. So I felt in and out of kind of what was happening. But no, I think I think you can learn so much from a loss and from losses. And I don't think, for those games, I think we learned more and we gained more from those. So I think it's just more like a step in the road in a learning process and something you take, you move on from, and you move forward.
I look at the roster. There is a kind of a lot of competition for outside back. Mm-hmm. What do you see your role as?
That's a good question. Probably for Vlatko to tell you. But no, I mean, for me, anything I can do to help the team win, whether that is starting, getting subbed in, not playing, like whatever role I'm in, which, I'll find out, being a good teammate and helping in any way I can to win.
One of the things Vlatko made clear about kind of the selection process for this team, not just for spots, but I think for minutes as well, is form in league play. Tell me a little bit about the pressure when the manager says, hey, like, there's half of a season, play well or else. Because I feel like you guys were all under that a little bit heading into this roster decision.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I saw it as they watch every game and have been watching any game regardless. And so even from like my rookie year, I've had that mentality that they are watching these games and they're evaluating them. So even though with the extra pressure of like, oh, it's 2 months, you have to, like, I had already had that mentality that they're watching every game, they're seeing everything, like, so I think for me it was just like keep doing what I'm doing and keep getting better.
It happens that time period is with a new team, right? You make the move from Louisville to North Carolina. Did that worry you at all?
No, it excited me. I think it was a little stressful moving and changing clubs and things like that. But no, I'm really loving North Carolina, and I think, with how we play and how we're doing, I feel really prepared coming into the World Cup. So, again, it just something I moved, and I was like, it's just going to keep going.
There's obviously a legacy around this team, right? A legacy of success. As someone who hasn't yet contributed to that, as a first timer, what's the weight of that?
That's a good question. I mean, I think this team has always had pressure, and obviously pressure is a privilege. So, but with this World Cup, it's a new challenge. It's something that all of us want to attack and go for. And so, and I think too with the women's game, it's changed so much since the last World Cup. More teams are being invested, more money into the women's game. So I think for all of us, it's a new challenge. It's exciting and it's a new group. So I think we're just ready to go for it.
You mentioned all the changes in the women's game. Are the expectations the same for this team to win it all?
Yes. I mean, we're always going to have the highest standards no matter what. But with that, it definitely is a game by game. What we're looking at right now is Vietnam, and then Vietnam will go from there. So it really is a game by game. But we're always going to have the highest expectations for ourselves and standards.